So here we are with Jeremy Ebobisse from the Portland Timbers. Jeremy, thank you so much for making time for us virtually here. Obviously, things are a little bit different with this new normal with the coronavirus. So we're speaking to you via FaceTime. How are you doing?
Yeah, time is one of the things that I have a lot of these days. Definitely just managing, like a lot of people, trying to keep busy, trying to work on some things about myself and my home that maybe weren't as good because I didn't have as much time. So just taking it day by day and getting used to it.
And you're used to being in an industry, professional soccer, where you get to share a room with a bunch of your teammates. You have your banter. You're on the field with a bunch of guys. Now we have to social distance, so you don't get to see them nearly as frequently. How challenging is it not to be around the locker room?
Yeah, it's definitely real challenging, especially given that I don't have any roommates. So the social interaction, the in person social interaction, is definitely down to minimal. Every now and then I'll be out going grocery shopping or whatever it might be, and I'll notice Eric's car coming in the opposite direction because we live next to each other.
Okay.
And so that'll be about the most social contact I get in general, or maybe if I'm on my run, I might run into some people, but pretty, pretty, pretty isolated these days, that's for sure.
Are you able to do anything virtually with the team in terms of text messaging, FaceTime and calls, anything like that, or is it pretty much just you've got your programs, you're kind of just on your own doing your own thing?
Yeah, I think everyone on the team misses each other, to be honest, because
Yeah.
our fitness coaches started a group chat to make sure that we all had our programs and whatnot, and all of a sudden it's turning into banter every now and then. So I think we miss each other's presence, which is good. It's a good sign for our locker room, and I think the energy will definitely be there whenever things get back to normal.
Now, I know you're not being able to be at the facility on the field. The big question for me is how do you stay fit in this kind of environment? I know I've done some things in my living room with my kids, but it's just so difficult, obviously, for you. What do you do in terms of your fitness?
Yeah, as I said, we've been real connected with the staff, and they sent us kind of some home programs that we could do. So I set up a little home program myself. Um, in my studio, I got a little bike brought in by the team, so that's nice.
Nice.
Uh, I've been causing a little ruckus downstairs, so I need to figure out how to make that work without a sound. And then I got my yoga mat and then some bands up against the wall that I use. I mean, these bands are you've obviously used a bunch of them, but you can do a lot with them, and uh, they've definitely been keeping me busy. Then I got my foam roller and med ball right there. So uh, there's definitely it's different. It's not like having a gym. It's not like having a bench, but or dumbbells even. But we're making it work, and it's actually quite challenging. The stuff that we're doing as well. So it's
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome, and it looks like Nick Malonis has got all his hands all over that stuff because I remember doing that as a player. Certainly,
Definitely.
the posterior chain, as he always called it. So yeah, that's awesome. So you're staying fit. What are you doing outside of soccer and obviously social virtually things with a team? What are you doing on your own just to kind of keep busy as we're not able to be around other people?
Yeah, I mean, this is a time, as I've said, where I've been working on myself. So, my first year here, I don't think I cooked any meals, and yeah, that wasn't very good financially, but it also wasn't good for my portion control because anytime I ate out, it was just a lot easier to eat more of whatever I was ordering.
Sure.
So progressively throughout 2018, I started cooking a little bit, fell out of it, but now I really kind of dove into it a little more, and I've had a lot of time on my hands to look up recipes and whatnot. So that's been net positive. There's been some hiccups as any new adventure might have, but that's been good. And then I've just been keeping my house or my apartment a lot cleaner, which there's no one coming in these days, so I guess it's for myself, which is equally as important. But it is nice to know that I don't live in a mess like I have in the past.
Absolutely. It's funny. I remember being a young player and the challenges of keeping your place looking nice and then cooking for yourself. I learned how to do that when I was in Norway because I had no fast food or really grocery store. I should say any way of having meals cooked for myself. So it was
Right.
either eat at the club and the food was awful, or it was cook for myself. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth in the cooking area. I'm curious
Right.
for you when it comes to cooking. I read an article about you on MLS Soccer that said you were experimenting with some different things. What meals have you done well, and what meals have you struggled with so far?
Um, so I've made crepes, and historically I've only made sweet crepes because those were the easiest to make. But this time around I improvised, and I threw some eggs in there in the morning and some cooked spinach and some cooked sausages as well. And so that was and cheese. So that was pretty simple, but it really hit different. So I'm gonna be adding that to my regular routine. And then I worked on a homemade bolognese sauce, which was one of my favorites to go with pasta. And it was kind of a time commitment. It took 2.5, 3 hours to make and let everything sit and evaporate from or reduce in the sauce. But uh, at first there were some little hiccups. I overdid some of the liquids I was putting in to reduce, so it wouldn't quite reduce as quickly as I needed it to, and I would basically just dump it out and hope that it tasted all right, which in the end it did.
Yeah.
And I learned from it. So now, I feel pretty confident making that. If I had to, make my mom dinner or something, I would happily make her that. And then I had worked on a quiche, which, I've had mixed results with in the past. The simpler quiche I had made, the more, the easier and the better it turned out. But as I started to add ingredients to it, the more I realized that I had to, think more about how they were going into the into the mixture. So before I wasn't drying out my ingredients, which ended up that the quiche wouldn't settle, and I was basically just eating around the edges to the only parts that were settled. uh, and now, fortunately, it's back to I found that sweet spot in getting it to settle nicely, not overcooking it, etc. So now I'm looking for something new.
Mm-hmm.
My friend suggested crab cakes. I said, "Calm
Ooh.
down. We're not at that level." But no, it's exciting to know that while I obviously miss being out in the field and then miss the social interaction, there are some things that can keep me busy and just go towards improving myself as a person.
Yeah, it's a great mentality to have. And I'm just curious from the cooking standpoint, where are you getting your ideas for cooking? Are they based on your likes and your kind of desires for food, or is it based on anything like more just like, hey, I need this kind of protein, fat, carbohydrate, something like that?
In the past, so last year I tried a kind of an adaptive keto diet. So when I'd have to cook a lot for that because there weren't that many keto friendly places, and so I was really conscious of my macronutrients. But now it's more about what can I make, like what isn't gonna stink my apartment, and what's gonna be fully cooked and not make me sick. Uh, and so uh, I definitely bounced ideas off my friend back home who's a good cook and who I respect in that regard. And he's kind of pointed me out that way. And then if I really have any worries, in the moment of cooking anything, I'll just give my mother a FaceTime. It's always a good excuse to call my mother. And she'll just help me get the finishing touches out on anything I need.
Always got to have a good excuse to call mom, for sure.
I know. I really don't need it, but also it's nice to have one.
Now, shifting gears a little bit from cooking to the visuals in terms of like reading or watching TV or movies. Are there anything that you're doing in your day to day to do that? Do you have any interest in like cooking or sorry in reading or watching movies, TV shows and stuff?
I started binge watching West Wing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yep.
Old, yeah, yeah, yeah. So a bunch of my friends told me about it and kind of pressured me into watching it, but I couldn't commit to 7 seasons. And I guess now is kind of the perfect time to do so.
Right.
I've also been reading the New York Times Magazine 1619 Project,
Okay.
which I'm going over to right now. So I it's been out since August, but I had taken my time because I actually wanted to get a hard copy of it, and
Mhm.
I don't know what you've heard about it, but it's a kind of a work put together by a journalist named Nicole Hannah Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of just had a bunch of writers write articles about linking the arrival of the first slave boat to America with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of contemporary issues that we have in society, from the way our banking industry works to traffic and medical care and all that. And it's definitely an interesting, thought-provoking newspaper slash work of literature that's taken a while for me to digest. And what else am I reading? That's probably all I'm reading and watching right now. If I need some cross of social interaction and visuals, then I'll hop on Fortnite with my friends from home. And yeah, I'm not very good, but it's always good banter to make fun of other people for being worse than me.
This is always true. So a little bit of Fortnite, some 1619 from New York Times, and then binge watching The West Wing.
Yeah, that's my regular routine,
Yeah,
and then some cooking from time to time.
I love it. I love it. Well, it sounds like you're filling up your day with some positive things, and obviously got to keep yourself ticking forward and staying sharp. And I will say I've been really impressed with how you handle yourself in terms of being outspoken on certain issues. Race being one of them. I think that's awesome, and you seem very educated on those things as well, which I think is important. As you're speaking out about them. So continue to do that. I think that's great. Curious if you are ready to do a quick. We call this Nats 442.
Okay.
This is
The formation of choice.
yes, formation of choice for those of us who aren't as skilled at scoring goals as you are. I call this my 442 because it's 4 layup questions, I think. 4 medium-sized questions that might be take a little bit more thought. 2, whammies, because we obviously know to score goals, to create, it takes a lot more than to destroy. So it's 2 really thought provokers. Then I might throw a bonus question in there for you at the end.
Man, if those first 4 are hard, then I'll know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Well, you went to Duke, so I don't think you'll have any problems. The 442 begins in the back. Favorites. Favorite food.
Damn, that's hard. Yeah, a good Neapolitan pizza.
Favorite board game.
If I have a lot of time, Risk. If I'm short on time, Settlers of Catan.
I love Settlers.
Love it.
Favorite movie.
These aren't easy, man. Probably The Dark Knight.
Favorite book.
Yeah, these aren't easy. I don't know what I'm getting into. Let's see. Favorite book. Yeah, nonfiction. Invisible Man Has the Whole World Watching by Michael Denzel Smith. And fiction, probably Atonement by Ian McEwan.
Okay. I like how you qualified those based on fiction, nonfiction. That's
I
well
just
done.
wasn't sure. That's you can't narrow down favorite movie and favorite book.
Yeah, I would have needed a genre as well. That's good. All right. Well, we're done with the back line. Let's move into the midfield. Next 4. What is the best way to start the day?
Oof. If I'm not training, the best way to start the day is with a nice brunch, like a really filling brunch with sweet, savory, and a nice drink to go with it.
You're in the right place in Portland. Do you have a brunch place you like?
I love Irving Street Kitchen. Great fried chicken, great waffles, great. Anything that comes out there is actually really, really good.
If you were not a soccer player professionally, what would you be?
As in another sport, or I'd like to think I'd be a politician, non-sports related, or somewhere around that. Sports related, I'd like to think I'm athletic enough to be a basketball player, or maybe I would have been a swimmer. I used to swim when I was young, real
Okay.
competitively as well, and so I could have maybe again, if I'm fantasizing over my own over my own ability, I could have gone pretty far there too.
Awesome. What is the most interesting place you have visited?
Yeah, I can't name it because I forgot the name, but somewhere in Morocco, I went into like kind of a walled old town in Morocco 2 years ago, and just some of the architecture that was there was from like the real early, like a lot earlier of days, and like whether it was like communal baths and that kind of thing. So that was real interesting, and then also had like real good views of the ocean that it was on, and just seeing how people still lived in these really really old fashioned communities was real interesting.
Were you there with the national team, or was it a personal trip?
I was there with my family. My dad lives in Casablanca now.
Oh, very
Yeah,
cool.
so we were all there for Christmas and
Oh,
some.
okay. Who has inspired you to be better?
Are we in the four still, or are we up
We're,
to
so
the?
yeah, we're still in the midfield four.
Yeah,
Well, this is the fourth of the four. This is like this is like one of your D mids right now.
who's inspired me to be better? Yeah, there's. I can't narrow it down to individual people because I think my family obviously inspires me to be better every day as a person and as an athlete. Just because I feel like I'm representing them, and I just want them to like be proud of like everything that I do, and I hope that's the same way like they feel. And then from an athletic sense, all my peers, especially the peers my age who I played with on youth national teams and played with and against, I think anytime I see one of them doing well, I'm just thinking that's awesome. Like I want to be with you. Like I want to be in the same environment. I want to beat you, whatever it might be. I think we all have this competitive edge to us that we're all friends, but as soon as we're competing, we just want to be better than each other, and that's awesome.
Love it. All right, we have gone through the back four of the midfield. We are up top, 4-4-2. Two
I'm
questions
nervous.
for you. You got to get these ones down, man, because this
I
is
might
your
have to
this is where
might
you
have to
play.
stand a friend.
Yeah. Well, this first one is interesting. So, if you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would that
Yeah.
be?
Any activity into an Olympic sport. Honestly, I would turn cooking into an Olympic sport, and I would be one of the judges because there's few things in life that make me happier than just leaving a meal completely satisfied, and also having like learned something new about like the food that I was eating. And I think that chefs all over have really unique ways of combining flavors and just keeping the whoever's eating attentive and stuff. So I think that would be it off the top of my head.
Awesome. Is there one skill that you most want to master?
I wish I could sing or dance. Like one of those two. Like that would just elevate my social repertoire so much. If I like, I don't even need to be able to like rap or anything like that. Just if I had a good voice that like people wanted to listen to, that would be unreal.
You ever done any karaoke? Ever gone to any of those bars around Portland?
Not in Portland, but I've had to sing
Yeah.
my fair share of times, and notice I said had. Like it's not a good thing.
Mandatory team things,
Yeah.
functions. Yeah.
Yeah, team thing doesn't sound good. Yeah, but that's not one of those things I can learn. I'm sure about that. Think,
What about the dancing thing? Are you ever inclined to when you're at the club or anything like that to go after it, or is it just one of those things where you're just mortified about how you work and you're just not going to do it?
there's no dancing. Like
You got to be better than me, man. I can guarantee that.
I just stay in my lane in that in that regard.
All right, you've done well. We are at the bonus question, the goalkeeper. You ready for this
I'm
one?
ready.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Is there something that you wish you knew more about in life? Some sort of knowledge that you wish you knew more about. I'll qualify it that way.
I don't know. I wish I knew more about like international relations between like countries and cultures. because obviously there's been a lot of conflict, like throughout the history of civilization,
Mm.
and it's just so much to study. Like world history just fascinates me, but there's just endless amounts of reading perspective to actually fully understand it. And so, yeah, that if I had infinite amount of time and processed information at the speed of light, then I would definitely be going in that direction.
Awesome. Cool. Well, you've done well. You've answered all my questions very thoughtfully as well, and I thank you for that. And I think that's it for here. So I want to say thank you so much, Jeremy, for spending time with me. Do you have anything you want to say to your Timbers supporters, U.S. Men's national team supporters out there?
No, just hang in there. I know, like I'm sitting here in my studio. Everyone else is probably alone or confined to their homes, but just keep hanging in there. We don't know how long it's gonna last, but just all that energy that you're building up, it's gonna come to good use at some point, and it's gonna be real exciting. And when we can get the economy back rolling on its feet and help all those small businesses that have had to close, and then from our side, be able to relive the sport that we all love.
Jeremy, thank you so much, man. Stay
Thanks, man.
safe.
Thank you. You too.